person too hard for God to save. And in doing so, as I was speaking, was it nowhere near my notes, I kind of got, felt the Spirit and got on the tangent of, asking the congregation, who in your family, one of our visions from our pastor and from the leadership of the church is to go out and reach this community and to touch those who live around these walls, to get them to not only to come here, to get them to know Jesus Christ. And so, one of the things that was pressed on my heart as I was speaking was, it's going to be extremely difficult for us to go speak to those that we don't know if we can't even preach to those who we do know, such as our family members, our mothers. Some of us have mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, cousins, all the way across the board who we know don't live for Jesus Christ. And, if we don't speak to those folks, it's going to be awful difficult to go out and evangelize the world. So in doing so, as I was speaking that message, it would just, hit me in my heart. I started talking about my mom. A little quick background. My mom, as I grew up, I grew up in inner city north side of Columbus, was not churched at all. My parents never attended a church service in my life. My mother or my father. Both good, hard-working American people, for all accounts, did what was right according to the world, but just didn't live for Jesus Christ. And when I was a young man, when I recently was saved, about 2 or 3 years later, my dad got a bout with cancer, and right on his deathbed, he received Christ through the prayer that God allowed me to give him, and it was just an awesome feeling. I just remember that, and it's something I've always held on to. I remember that. Because my dad was some big 6'5", 300-pound tough guy, tattoos, construction worker guy, could crush somebody's skull with his hands, one of them big type guys. And see him just whittle before God it's an image I could never get rid of. It always, to me, just signifies God's power. And so, to get back to the message, as I began to, it was impressed on my heart to pray for my mom. The Pastor Kevin came up as the altar call came, and he kind of took over and asked anyone in the congregation who had a family member, and that type of thing. So I left the pulpit and I went down on the altar and began just to weep and just cry out for God, to save my mother. I knew the situation. And so, it was a blessed service. Everything went well. Everything was great. And I believe that God can do it. It's nothing wasn't like I just said, oh yeah, I prayed that and I just walked out of here. But like other times, the busyness of the world took place. I sprinted out of here. I had to go straight home, take off my suit, put on some other clothes. I had to go paint these fields. I was coaching this football camp all week. And then from there, I went straight to my son's doubleheader. So I was extremely busy on Sunday. So I kept getting a couple calls on my cell phone from my sister. And, I wasn't able to get to it. And by about 9 o'clock, I got home Sunday night. I finally got a hold. I called her. I said, what's going on? And she said, Chuck, guess what? I said, what's going on? She said, Mom got saved today. And I sat there and looked at the phone like, ooh. My mom had been to church 3 times in her life. She's 60 years old. 2 times been here to hear me speak. I had no idea she was going to church. Didn't even know, She ended up going to church with one of her sisters. Her sister, who lives in Kentucky, her husband is a pastor, and he came in town and had some of his old church friends, whatever, and they had some type of meeting out on the east side. And as the sisters, they went. And as I started figuring it out, the same time I was on that altar crying was the same time my mom was on that altar crying. So my testimony today is there's no one too hard for God to save. If there's someone on your heart, anyone, get before God, believe it. You can't imagine where my faith is right now. I had already been walking on a spiritual high for the last couple of weeks, but this week I just literally been on clouds. I just know the God I serve, He answers prayers. He's a good God. There's no doubt about it. He's a good God every day of the week. And there's nothing. I'm so much at peace. But now I just can't wait to. I'm figuring out who am I going to attack next. Who else is about to get it, you know? Because I know my God is a God who answers prayers, you know? We all have needs, we all have wants in this world, but there's nothing better than knowing a loved one that's going to have eternity with our God. Because that's what we're all here for, people. We're all here to get to that other side. We get there to live for eternity. I believe that, I know that, and I love that. And it's just a great feeling. So I pray that you're blessed by that. And I pray that not only that you're blessed, that you go out and share that with someone else. This is real. I mean, I know you all heard me speaking. I'm not the most eloquent speaker. You know, I stammer and I stutter, and I may not even pronounce words, but I love Jesus. I really do. And I hope that shows, because there's no doubt about it. I love him every day of the week. At this time, would the ushers come forward, please?